India, Kazakhstan, Myanmar, Romania, and each will speak for 12 minutes. And the question answer session has been scrapped by the organizer, and the particular speaker will be asked to circulate by using the separate Google group which has been created by the organizer. For any question, any comment, there will be question answered directly by the separate speaker. By keeping in view the managerial issue, the question and answer are have been curtailed from this present session plan. So to provide alternative to the participants and presenters to interact with each other, a Google group of for question answer and other discussion have been created, and everyone have been added in that Google group, and that has been already received through your email, registered email rather. And after all the presentation, the chair of the session will present summary of the session in form of his remarks, and finally the session will be concluded with a vote of thanks. With this short introduction, first of all, I would like to invite the uh, faculty for presentations, and the first of all, I would like to invite Dr. Hasrat Arjjumend, who is a senior fellow CISDL and the founder president of Grassroots Institute Canada. He is comprehensive and critical critique of natural conservation policies of protected areas, and he is evaluation expert and doing advocacy for indigenous rights, dignity, and self-determination. He is trained in conducting training, teaching, writing, and publishing. His model has been supported by European Union, and also he did exemplary work which received UNESCO recognitions as well. As an activist, he organized 2017 community collectives institutions to liberate about 30,000 hectares of pasture land from the clutches of powerful elite. Professionally, he has 27 years of experience of teaching, training, field action, organization management, and by dealing with multidisciplinary area of environment, natural resources, governance, development, indigenous rights. His work study exposure to South Asia, Southeast Asia, East Africa, Scandinavian, Europe, Russia, Siberia, and Canada. He published about 176 publications of varied types, and he is PhD in international studies, international biodiversity governance, PhD diploma in environmental law, his MPhil in natural resources management, MSc in environment sciences, MA in public administration, as well as EMBA and BSc honors in biosciences. Additionally, he got advanced practical training from UK, Sweden, Thailand, Russia, India, Netherlands, and USA. Today, we are privileged to welcome him in this program, and today he will be speaking on why mountain matters. Sir, you have 30 minutes for your presentation. The floor is yours, sir.
Hello, everyone. Am I audible and visible?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Uh, Today is the first day of this summer field school. And in fact, let me honestly share with everyone that I have not come with a lot of preparation academically, because I know that many people, large number of people are going to speak and give very expert lectures on different topics related to mountain subjects. You know, we have divided this summer school program into 9 different themes, grouped into 9 different session groups. And under these themes, there are very nicely designed topics, and hence the lectures are um, taken up by different very competent scholars, experts, and half of the faculty members are the senior professors, others are the associate professors, some are assistant professors, but they are still very capable and competent scholars, researchers. So I'm not going to tell you under this topic very detailed science or something which is very much unique. So I will simply try to sensitize the audience here and give an overview of this subject, why mountains. So why we have chosen the core subject of this summer school, that is mountains. So I will speak why mountains matter. So instead of giving a lot of dose of the science, technology, or other factors related to the mountains, I will like to share my experiences, how I emerged with the experience of the mountains, and how this experience has inculcated into my functioning, professional functioning, uh, all all across my professional career, from the beginning to till the end. I mean, till the day. So I have almost passed 30 years in the field. So this experience has taught me a lot, and then there is a manifestation into the articulations on the subject of the natural resource management, which I bring as an expertise from a long time. So let me share that my first exposure was in 1990, when I had first visited Nainital districts in India, which was that time in Uttar Pradesh province. Now it has become Uttarakhand since year 2000. So my first exposure was in Nainital, because I was studying my master's in environmental science in a nearby area that is very popular university called GB Pant University of Agriculture and Technology. So we had an exposure, class exposure, and I had the exposure to the mountain. So I have understood that this topography and geography is something different. The people seemed very different from the plain areas, because I was born in the plains, Gangetic Plain, very close to Delhi. So I had started a different kind of exposure, and gradually, when I completed my master's, then my first job and my first employment was in Dehradun again. That was in Uttar Pradesh, but in the foothills of Himalayas. It's very much Himalaya right now, uh, which is the capital city of Uttarakhand state. So then the career started, and you will be surprised that my first assignment was to design a watershed project in Tehri Garhwal district. So I got tremendous exposure with the mountain geography and topography. So I had to learn the how the soil and water conservation is to be done by the experts as an expert. But that time I was not expert really. So I was in the learning process. So I learned from various scientists based in Dehradun. So I got an exposure to the soil and water conservation techniques. I read a lot about it. Then I had also designed the implementation project, and that project was supported by G.V. Pant Institute uh, of Himalayan Environment and Development. So this way I got the exposure to the mountains, and then there is a long history of working in the mountains. Thereafter, in '96, I shifted to Himachal Pradesh, where the very famous Great Himalayan National Park is existing, which is right now the UNESCO World Heritage Site. And thereafter, after a certain gap, and from 9 or 8 years, so I had a chance to set up an office there within the periphery of the Great Himalayan National Park. And 2005, this institute was creating right there. So I have just consumed this time for explaining this, that how this institute emerged in the mountains. So this idea, the very genesis of the institute is having inherently the mountain background. So that is how this summer school was started. Um, right in 2007 and 2008. We had tried in 2010 as well. Uh, and this is the third school which we are doing now online. So this school, when we set up in Canada, this institute in 2018, so we decided in 2019 that we will do this summer school at the global scale. So we mobilized the partners, we wrote the various potential partners, and some of them agreed to do this. And wonderfully, after long efforts, so we are here. So let me now proceed with this background, saying that the mountain environments cover 27% of the world's land surface. So this data has already been provided by the Mountain Partnership, Rosalina, yesterday in the inaugural session. So she has given very, very nice statistics, because Mountain Partnership is a global network working under the FAO. So they are really the very, very updated institution and very authoritative institution for this subject, along with the EC mod. So we see that mountains have a very large expansion all over the world. And I think half of the world's countries, although here is written that 22% of the world's people live in the mountains, but I think these mountains are some type of the mountain or other type of the mountains are existing in half of the world. So with this, we see that the ecosystems and the watersheds of the mountains, they are really the bread and butter for not only for the local inhabitants, but also the plain areas, where the rivers flow into, they originate from the mountains and then they flow down to the sea coasts, so across the plains. So these mountains are feeding large populations, and we see the mountains are also the stabilizer of the climates, macroclimates, not only the microclimates. So these are not the new things for all of us. These are very old things and written in so much literature. I should share here very good example of how the mountains and the natural resources therein, how the natural ecosystems, pristine and fragile ecosystems of the mountains, they support the livelihoods of the local people, and how those livelihoods are different from the others. That is very important to understand. In my personal observation and my personal experience, I can quote here the example of Himachal Pradesh, the state, one Himalayan state of India, where when I compared the people, Himachal people, with the other states people, then I found a very stark difference between these two different types set of the populations. So when we compare the Himachal families, they are by nature, they are very cool. They are rarely aggressive, number one. Number two, they are having not much ambitions, not many ambitions. They are very, very satisfied. Like today in the Western world and in also fast industrial societies, we see that the people are earning a lot of money, lot of material, they have a lot of resources, but they have no peace. They are searching for spirituality. They are looking for that, and they are spending money also on that to seek it. They want to go for tourism into the mountains, into other areas, the coastal areas, but they are still not finding any peace anywhere. But my observation, I saw a family having the 11 girls, daughters, 11 daughters. I have seen literally and stayed with this family overnight. So I experienced this family having 11 daughters in this family, and the person is sleeping a very sound sleep. I mean, not a trace of anxiety on the face. I tried to discover what's the reason behind this. They said, they explained, first of all, our society is natural resource society, and we have a plenty of resources and food, everything we have around us. So we have nothing, no greed, nothing to excavate so much resources, and uh, whatever we need, we got it around from us, our land, our nearby forest, and the other mountainous land. So we go there and we whatever we want to eat or we want to get, even the medicines are available. So everything is here around us, and this is free, except our agriculture. So whatever, even agriculture is not very advanced, but we have plenty of land and we grow enough to eat over the years, for over the year. So our family doesn't need anything more, and we are not, we have no unrest. We are very satisfied. We are leading very satisfied life, number one. Number two, uh, as in the other societies of this country, there is a dowry system for the daughters. So that's in our local society, we have no such system. Even the boys come to marry with the girls, and they offer that I want to marry with this girl. And the father is even the boy has to give the security money in the bank of the girl, daughter. So there is no system of dowry, that the father of the daughter has to give a lot of material to the boy. So this is not a system. So that's why I have the 11 girls and I am sleeping very nicely. So largely, this society in the mountains largely, I mean, is very satisfied with the resources they have around them, and they augment their livelihood very peacefully. And by nature, also by behavior, they are very cool and they are very not at all aggressive. In some cases, like the district Una, which is bordering the Punjab, very developed state of the industrial state of the Punjab. So that district has some distinct culture and distinct system from the other districts of the Himachal Pradesh. But largely the Himachal Pradesh mainland is very cool, what I have described to you. So this is the effect of the natural resource system, which we call the also called the system, biosphere system. So in this, the mountain ecosystems have a very critical role this way. Now, there are the problems. Of late, there are the problems. Because of the influence of the market, because of the influence of the mainstream society, I mean the society, the people living in the plain areas and people living in the industrial zones, they come to Himachal Pradesh, they buy the properties, they establish their businesses. They also mainly come for the tourism. So there is a lot of market influence in the Himachal society as well. But I think there is no, as such, fundamental shift per se. So here we have to learn that how the various resources, not only the forest, the diversity, the animals, the wildlife, the agriculture. Even agriculture is very rich. We have done a very wonderful project in about 50 villages of Great Himalayan National Park, where we documented the agricultural gene pool. So we had documented about 32 very traditional varieties of different crops, 12 or 14 different crops. And we documented this and then published also. It is also on our website of the Grassroots Institute, you can find. So these gene pool is really different. The crops which are not found right in other parts of the country, they were being grown by the traditional people and traditional communities in that interior areas. So this is how the mountains are different, and we have to perceive the mountains and mountain ecosystems differently. Now, lastly, I should give a little glimpse on the problems created by the industrialization. Mountains are not at all untouched by the problems. And these problems are really created by the industrial society as such, and with the nexus of the political system and industries. So industries, because wherever there are the natural resources, the industries want to extract those resources for their benefits. Although they articulate that they are producing some material for the larger society, but the major motive is to gain the benefits, and there is their own, I mean, they want to benefit from those resources. So here the mountains have a major problem. Number one is the mining. Mining is a very old and classical thing which is happening all across the mountains. We see the Himalayas, we see the Central Asian mountains, for example, Pamirs or other mountains. So the extraction of the resources in the form of the minerals, in the form of other resources, even the timber extraction is a major item which has a very negative fallout. I have seen literally, I have seen in the Carpathian Mountains myself, particularly in Ukraine, where the timber extraction is a major issue, major problem. And I have seen even the railway rail is carrying the big logs, timber logs to the neighboring country, for example, Poland or uh, Hungary. So lately, I have read one very wonderful reports about the Carpathian timber extraction by an Austrian company. Not only one company, but there are several companies these days, and they have established on the borders of the Ukraine, Romania. So from there, huge areas are extracted, and much of it is illegal. So anyway, another important thing is the hydropower projects. We see that uh, for like hundreds of the year, 100 years, maybe more than 100 years, hydropower development is taking place in the mountains, and huge areas have been submerged by these hydropower projects. So this is another important negative activity, which is extractive, rather I should say extractive activity taking place in the mountains. So this way, we see that the mountains are also suffering from these development projects, extractive industries. And there is a massive exploitation. Today, the new dimension has emerged, that is of the tourism. So every government, wherever the mountains are there, they are really very desperate for earning the profits, earning the revenues, and that revenues easily comes from the tourism industry. But there is a tremendous implications of especially the negative effect of this tourism. Even the eco people are promoting the ecotourism, but ecotourism is still not has established the conservation of the resources. The ecotourism is also still doubtful and under the scanner. Many experts have been assessing the impacts of the tourism, and mostly they found that there is a negative effect of the tourism activities. So these are the things and these are the issues which are really troubling the mountains. And because it is, if we see pragmatically, that it is like a person having 20 hens and is producing the eggs, and he is not only eating the eggs and earning the money out of the eggs, so but he, out of this, he is making livelihood out of it. But suddenly he started he started slaughtering the hens one by one, and then one day all hens finished. So this mountain is having the similar fate. The industries, governments, and the vested interest people, they want to acquire more and more resources. They want to extract the resources from the mountains, because the mountains are the repositories of these resources, and so they have intention to extract more and more. And this way, the day is not very far when the mountains will finish. And once the ecosystem of the mountain finishes, or it degrades considerably, the entire cycle of the natural resources, this stops. For example, the water cycle. Water cycle is completely dependent on the green cover, the forests. the the flora and the soil composition, minerals. So if somebody extracts, somebody excavates the soil or the rocks and mines and cuts the trees, so everything become, I mean, all the resources go, and the water is not retained by the soil. So although the mountainous soils, because of the high relief or because of high slope, the water is not very readily retained by the soil. So in nutshell, we see in many areas, we see that despite a heavy rainfall in the mountain areas, the mountain do not have the enough water for the irrigation, enough water for the drinking. The people are, even in the mountains, are facing the drinking water shortage, irrigation water shortage. So this is happening because although there is a lot of rain happening there, but this is the phenomena because the vegetation cover is reduced, and once the vegetation cover is reduced, the water is not caught and it is not retained by the soil surface, and entire rainwater is running off into the streams and then into the tributaries of the rivers and then goes into the rivers. So this way, if the destruction goes on unabated, so slowly everything will finish and all hands will be eaten by the owner himself. So we, the humans, are the owners of these mountains, and then we are going to eat entire resources of the mountains, and then day is not far when we will finish everything. And lastly, we will not have enough water. We will be suffering from the floods and everything, all these natural calamities and droughts, floods, etc. So this is just a conclusion of my intervention today. Here I have not talked about the traditional local knowledge and the livestock. So, but there are the other speakers and other esteemed faculty members who will speak a lot about it. There are specific sessions in context of the mountains, even in context of the livestock. We have one full day about it. So thank you so much. I have consumed 6 minutes more, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah.
But I started 7 minutes late, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. You still have 3 minutes. You still have
Okay.
3 minutes. But
Okay.
I will take those 3 minutes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
1 minute. I just switch off this.
Yes.
My God.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hasrat Arjjumend, founding president of this